If you look at, in the first place, we're not only sitting with illegal foreigners from South Africa. We're sitting with illegal foreigners literally from all over the world.
Illegal immigration doesn't only bring physical problems. It brings their culture.
The solution to our problems, it's us South Africans.
Hello, welcome to Unfiltered SA Conversations, ActionSA podcast. It's, of course, the first of its kind, which will be very informative, educational, and engaging on the issues that affect our community directly. I'm not alone. I'm with my co-host,
Thank you. It's Dumelango Khaya, viewers at home, and welcome to this platform, a platform where we will share nothing but the truth about the situation and the status of our country overall, and we will have guests to take us through from their expertise and their knowledge of exactly what can be done to fix many of our challenges that we face as South African citizens.
Nothing but the truth, I like that, because in today's topic, we will be talking about the issue that I'm thinking it has become a pandemic. It has become a disease to our communities, emotionally, socially, and economically. Illegal immigration. Seeing the recent happenings where those things affect people emotionally. The economy of our people that should belong to them has gone to the wrong end. But of course, we are not alone. We have our guest that will help us unpack this issue into depth. And I have a man who has always been vocal about this issue, and I know that this topic is very dear to his heart. He's been vocal on the way about this issue. One person who speaks nothing but the truth, as you said. Of course, an ActionSA leader and the president and the founder, Herman Mashaba. And Herman Mashaba, we are so grateful that on our first ever podcast, we get to interview you.
Thank you so very, very much for inviting me to your first episode, more especially dealing with an issue that has got such a negative impact to our nation, economically, socially, and otherwise. And I think it's a kind of a debate all of us as South Africans should not really be apologetic about addressing it. We were oppressed in the past until I raised this matter in 2016 when I took advantage of being the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, raising this issue of illegal immigration. Unfortunately, our government over the last 30 years has dismally failed us, opening our borders. It is for that reason today we're sitting with the highest unemployment rate in the world. We're sitting with entrepreneurship, particularly in the black poor communities where business opportunities have been taken by foreigners who we don't know in the first place how they came to be in our country. Our youth future has been destroyed on a daily basis by international drug cartels. We are seeing South Africa being at the center of human trafficking. And for anybody, or to be honest with you, to expect us to keep quiet about this, if I'm going to be the last man standing, this is an issue I'm not going to keep quiet about.
Mashaba, been vocal as always about this issue.
Strong points coming there from Dr. Mashaba, but we're not only with Dr. Mashaba today. We also have Ma'am Hilda, all the way from Soweto. Ma'am Hilda, welcome. Reading through your biography, Ma'am Hilda, it's clear that you are one person who wakes up every single day intentionally to say, I'm going to be the voice of the voiceless. Tell us what has inspired you to take through, to be in this journey of being a voice to those who cannot speak for themselves.
Thank you, Buitumelo. What inspires me is the failure of the people that we trusted with our votes. We trusted the government. We voted hoping that they'll bring change. And while we were still waiting for change, the worst happened. And we are supposed to be bringing evidence. I don't know what is this government calling evidence. Is evidence the corpses of our children? Is evidence our missing children that go missing every day. We know stories. The social media, I think they only make it a lesser kind of media when it suits them, because the power of social media, we see so much things happening to people in their everyday lives. So even that doesn't shake them. So I don't know what a kind of government. Now we have come to a point where I, from my frustration, I said I don't want to be in politics anymore. I would rather stand alone and stand for the people that cannot speak. And if that means I have to lose my life, because once you stand up for the truth, you're targeted. So whoever is coming for me, it's fine, they can get me. But the generation behind me is going to stand. I'm fighting for generations. So if it's, as Dr. Mashaba has said, he's speaking exactly what I'm saying. If I have to be targeted for this, it's okay. Bring it on. So that is where Count Me In movement was born, and it was born from pain. And it's meaning to go far. We want to go to every boardroom that if it's anything to do with me as a voter, I have to be part of it.
Mama Hilda, speaking about the movement, which is Count Me In movement, and then heading to your biography that this activism for more than 30 years. This issue of illegal immigration, because you are on the crowd, we are living in these communities every day. You see their head, you see their frustration. How can it like explain to us the effect that it has done, the pain that it has caused this issue of illegal immigration from your point of view as a community member and as an activist?
Sure, my brother. The pain, I think people are looking at it from the other side of the fence. I'm a Sowetan. I live in Soweto. I was born in Soweto. So at first, as I say, we trusted the government. We were living well with these people when they were still coming, because we thought they were brothers, as we are Africans coming from a colonial system. It was for us, we were happy to see other people like us. We even imitated their songs. We even dressed like them to show that there was no beef between us. But as soon as they started, because illegal immigration doesn't only bring physical problems. It brings airborne diseases, number one. Okay. It brings their what do they call this? The way they live. We are living with their culture. And South African culture, number one. These people come with cultures that includes mutilation of people, rituals. Only when they were already in our midst, that is when we realize that these people really are not here to be brothers. That is when we started to be against them being in our. And one thing that hurts most, we wake up, these people are already in our townships. And let me tell you one thing, I'm not a military person, but from a common view, let me tell you how these people, I was doing it even yesterday. When you go to any street, let me tell you, they are all occupying corners.
Okay.
All of them, trust me, in every street, every corner, a military person will do a homework.
That's interesting. Well, I think, can I just really come in here to really show you the serious risk that this country is facing. If our government is blind to this, I think it's deliberate. I think our intelligence services, if they are not part of this problem, then something is really very wrong. If you look at, in the first place, we're not only sitting with illegal foreigners from South Africa. We're sitting with illegal foreigners literally from all over the world, particularly Pakistan, what's this other place in China, and so forth. These are people where you ask yourself, what has the Pakistanis got to do in thousands, if not millions, in our country, leaving their own families? And also, the problem is that how do these people bring money into our country? How do they bring money into their country? How do they take this money into our country? Honestly, for anyone to think that we are naive, that this is a well-orchestrated, engineered program to support terrorist organizations. These people are funded. It's not like it's things happening haphazardly. This is a well-orchestrated, engineered program to support terrorist organizations. South Africa has been identified to be at the epicenter of criminality because we have a government that does not really care. Our politicians are easily bribable. So you corrupt them, you make them part of the system, you silence them. And in the process, unfortunately, South Africa will one day pay a serious price. There's a reason why we find the kind of armaments, AK-47, all manner of crimes that you ask yourself, how on earth would a country allow people moving around with this type of the guns in our communities? Why is our national treasury not questioning this? You know how many times during the time when I was the mayor, now running ActionSA, how many times I've written letters to our national treasury to ensure that all these spaza shops are registered, like all of us South Africans. We get harassed. And yes, we have to pay taxes. But then, are we then saying illegal foreigners must not really pay taxes? They must bring money into our country in an illegal format, take the money out of our country, to kill our children, murder our children. Because what is really happening right now, honestly, we can't call it an accident. This was an accident bound to really happen. If you allow this kind of chaos to continue, unfortunately, all of us are going to pay the price. But my concern is the silence of privileged South Africans, because this does not affect them. In fact, they are the beneficiaries of this. You find majority of them, they are employers of these illegal foreigners, because they don't have to really comply with the laws of our country. They can hire and fire them as they please. And also, can you find a spaza shop in a suburb?
Never.
Can you find a spaza shop selling counterfeits, expired goods in the suburb?
Never.
And these are the people who are actually quite against some of us, calling us all manner of names. And they don't realize that one day it's going to catch up with them. Because if you don't believe in social justice, if you are prepared to live side by side with abject poverty, inequality, one day it's going to catch up with you. And I think for us as ActionSA, we are not going to really give up on this. We want South Africans to have a social conscience. When you have someone coming from Alexander or from Soweto, they are our brothers and sisters. We should not really take for granted that because we are privileged, Soweto has got nothing to do with us, or Katlehong or Amanskral. I can tell you, people of Soweto, their suffering has got everything to do with us living in Sentelin, Waterkloof, and others. It's got everything to do with us, because somewhere along the line is going to catch up with us.
Tata Mashaba, Ma'am Hilda here said that she decided to take charge and take action by opening her movement, because they don't have trust in politicians anymore. And from reading what the social media has been saying, Tata Mashaba, when you came into the space, you were very clear. In fact, you were you were the most politician at the time who spoke so much about the issue of illegal immigration. You were very firm in terms of what needs to be done. But slowly from 2021 election, people started seeing, they felt that they started seeing a shift in terms of the mildness and people from Soweto, Alexei, in their approach for Bonnet, robust because of the daily challenges which they go through. So in the space of the political space in the Mashaba, in simple terms, what needs to be done? Because also at the bottom of this, we can see that there's a lack of political will. What really needs to be done? Given you are in a position right now as a politician and let's say you were in full government, what really needs to be done to address the issue of illegal immigration in our country?
You know, one of my biggest fears of this whole thing getting out of hand is when civil society take the law into their own hands. And it is for that reason people thought I was neutralized when others started talking about Abahambe and people raiding, the people stopping people going to shops. I think we need to really be very careful as society to get to a level where we take the law into our own hands, because it is very dangerous. It is the responsibility of our criminal justice system to do something about this. But unfortunately, they are captured. They are part of the problem. We've got a responsibility of our revenue services to ensure that these people are registered to pay taxes, like all of us as South Africans. We've got municipalities to apply the bylaws that people are just building everywhere. They come into your property in Soweto, or an old lady who survives on grants supporting their grandchildren because their mothers are unemployed. You know, they rent one room, the next day there's a container, or they build even in the streets. The municipalities are failing to apply the bylaws. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, this problem is going to be solved the day we can have a government that can take the responsibility, the constitutional responsibility entrusted on them to ensure that bylaw enforcement is applied. We've got a Home Affairs that ensures that people come into this country, come here legally, and when they're here, they respect our laws. We've got the criminal justice system that is going to ensure that there are consequences for breaking our laws. I think, and I really want to plead to South Africans, let us use our votes, because your vote is the most powerful, peaceful way of bringing about change. We are not going to bring about change by raiding these people, fighting with them when they have AK-47s. We have National Defense Force. So we have the police, we've got Metro Police, we've got private security companies. Let us use such infrastructure to ensure that we tackle them. I can tell you the question of these illegal foreigners operating shops in our communities. We need inspectors to go in. They must go in with the army, because you are confronting people with AK-47. Let us use special forces. When we raid these people, we raid them having the capacity so that they can take out their AK-47. We must take them out before they take us out. That is why I'm such an admirer of KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Commissioner. When he's faced with a life-threatening issue, he defends our law enforcement agencies.
Dr. Mashaba, speaking about the issues of spaza shops, I've been seen in the recent news happenings in Shamville, where one of our local spaza shop owner was shot dead by this foreign immigrants. How does ActionSA position itself in the case of supporting, empowering our own people to have progressive scholarships? Is there anything? Is there any policy, or is there anything that ActionSA will be doing? Because I was saying that they are there in Soweto. Maybe one wants to open a scholarship, and I have to like other guy. Yes, stop going all those things.
You know, can I just really come in here for people to really know that we've got history in this country. Some of us, we products of starting business at the time when an evil system of apartheid says we could not start businesses because we are black. I can tell you, we were inspired by the level of entrepreneurship in our communities. And I know personally, I've played such a key role in developing black entrepreneurs throughout the country, traveling, doing plus minus 10,000 kilometers every month, setting up distributors and training people and so forth. I spent a big percentage of our marketing in terms of developing people around me as distributors, as salon owners, making sure that they operate in a structured kind of fashion. But obviously, we're not the government, but our belief as ActionSA, you will see one of these days, we are going to launch a program where as government can ultimately remove this illegal foreigners out of our communities. We want black entrepreneurs in the townships to take over. But it's not going to be up to us as ActionSA to say so-and-so must be the one taking over the business. Let entrepreneurs come out themselves. And what we do as part of our policy in terms of black economic empowerment, because we believe in black economic empowerment, but not the ANC black economic empowerment. What we have is what we call an inclusive economic empowerment, where we are saying businesses must contribute a percentage of their profits into this fund. This fund must fund black entrepreneurs in the townships to run those businesses. What we're going to do also, we are going to ensure that we're going to negotiate. I am going to be negotiating with the business schools throughout the country to run for free regular business programs where people must be taught a simple economics, business, to be able to know an income statement and a balance sheet and so forth, so that when you run business, you must run a profitable kind of business. We're going to teach our people how to actually, when you are a group of businesses in Soweto, you're selling milli-mill. Don't go to the wholesaler, go and buy on your own. Businesses in Soweto meet once a week. You decide, I want 10 the bags of milli-mill, another 120 and so forth. Yeah, and then you are saying, our order. We go directly to the supplier or to the wholesaler. We give them one big order where we can get whatever percentage, and we get the benefit of that. Those are things that, fortunate enough, I'm one business person in this country with the necessary expertise. I know business from being a trader from the boot of my car. I know how to, as a businessman, to run a manufacturing operation. I'm one business person who knows how to really set up distributors throughout the country. So that kind of experience, I'm happy to actually share it with South Africans. They don't have to really pay me. And I have a network of educational institutions. I've got a network of wholesalers. I've got a network of manufacturers who can actually assist the traders in the townships, but they must run sustainable businesses.
Ma'am Hilda, we've heard from Dr. Mashaba, who's in the political space, but also a businessman who made it in times where it was said that black people would not be able to make it. From the solutions at Kutuone to empower people Soweto, but not just Soweto in general, what do you think of the approach? Because you'll remember that people who are renting out their spaces, even now we've got an issue here, poison or food, but we still have people going out to buy at those particular stores. What do you think of the approaches and the Mashaba in brief?
Okay, I'll start with the people still go back to buy from, because we don't have another alternative. People don't have options. These people people are now depending on their business, even though they know. So I love the solution that Ndate Mashaba has, especially being an African child, being a son of the soil. He understands the ground so much that the kind of people like us, we are not only for political, we are for empowerment of them. We want to see our children living a better life. We had spaza shops before these people came in. So now the challenge here is that these people, so the play field is not equal, because our people have been After 94, people were, the free market system was only being introduced. So our people require to bereka, not only defend. So that is where we feel have a problem, because now these people, they started business, so now they come here, that's how they are able, the system that Mashaba is saying, that they buy in bulk, all of them, then they get a better price. So our people are not, they don't know that. Like, we need to start from scratch. That we need access to information and get people to get used, because people don't even think, like, if Rekisama keep, like, you need to have what can I say? The records. Keep I-10, then Kaisa profit. That is already, you are already started. So people don't know that. They throw everything away. So the people, I went to the GDE to ask about this. The GDE said, we have grants for people. But the problem is some people fail because we present a business here. But though, I said, do you have a way of teaching them how to do business? They say we do, but we are short-staffed. We can't do that.
In fact, and I just come in here, which is, I think, also something that we need to really confront. If you look at government agencies, unfortunately, are run by corrupt people.
Exactly.
They're run by people who have never run anything in their lives. And we expect them to assist. To assist. They're there in the first place to go and advance their corrupt activity with their political masters. But what is even more sad is the fact that they have no idea about things that I'm talking about, because they've never sold anything in their lives. So what we need to do as society, I think we need to put in professional people. And we do have a lot of experienced people who are prepared to serve this nation. Unfortunately, because of our government following wrong policies and focusing on corruption. So these are things that for us as ActionSA, given an opportunity, we will address to make sure that when you run Minister of Trade and Industry, Minister of Trade and Industry must be someone well vested with how business operates. Do we need Department of Small Business in South Africa? We've got to be crazy. We've got to be mad. We don't need that department. All the billions spent in that for that department. Put it within Department of Trade and Industry. Have a dedicated team. You don't need a minister. A minister who's never run nothing, never sold Mabguin in their lives.
And that is where, like, the movements, we are not funded because we are standing against the state. So such initiatives, if they come to us, we know, like, we understand people, we know who is eligible for business, who can be helped, and we have lists. Because I do the groundwork. I love the groundwork. So I know who is standing for business, who can do this. I can identify. I know my people. Not all, but it is. I think the townships are generic. What you see in one town, it's the same thing. So that means if it can be solved here, it can be a handbook that works for everyone. So we are the people here that are saying we are open to help, but now we are not getting help. So what Mashaba, when they come with such initiatives, we can carry those initiatives, run with them, and make a proper work, because those ones, they are corrupt already. Runa will said, a man, the system has stripped a man. If you strip a man from being a provider and a protector by giving a man 350, they strip a man out of everything God has given a man.
Another one for that day. Unfiltered SA Conversations, Action Speaks podcast. Now, Webster, of course, with our guest. In 1 minute, what do you think is a solution for this?
Well, I think, fellow South Africans, the solution to our problems, it's us South Africans. We live in a democratic dispensation, and people fail to understand the power of their votes. By going out there to vote politicians in and vote them out when they don't perform. Don't go and ban our clinics, our roads. Just go out and vote these politicians out. I think it hurts me when you find a professional person with a degree and say, no, I'm not going to vote. my vote doesn't count. I can tell you, for as long as you don't take personal responsibility and you undermine yourself, you'll forever be poor and you're actually leaving a bad legacy for future generations. I can only ask you, go out, learn to go and vote correctly, vote for politicians that you can hold them accountable. And don't ever be married to a politician. Be married to what they stand for and be selfish. If that politician doesn't serve you, make sure that next time you make sure that unapologetically you vote them out.
That's Mashaba you mean. Or the only solution is your vote.
Ibutloko Webster, but you can never expect for people to abide by any rules, by any acts. So we are in this situation because our country, people do as they please. And when we ask for the law to take its course, when we ask for those who are in charge to be harsh and implement the basic thing is our laws, being xenophobic, it has nothing with being xenophobic. We just want to protect our country. We want that everybody who comes into our country must abide by the rules, by the laws of our country. It's as simple as that. But Webster has been an insightful engagement. Mpanza, continue what you are doing within your communities. Continue doing what you can do within your means. Continue being the voice of those who cannot be a voice for themselves. Because while you are doing that, you are also teaching others to take a stand for themselves. So Rahul for being here, and thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you. Continue, like I said, with what you do.
Unfiltered SA Conversations, Action Speaks podcast. The President Herman Mashaba for placing us today and being able to engage in this topic. Made that for being the activists that you are. I think this topic needs part 2. We really need to have a part 2 of this episode. I think there's so much on how we can and inclusion. Besides, I think we've touched base on the economic part of it, but the emotional part of it, we have not touched. But about Mashaba, there's so much happening in our country, and it got an singer, one of the cities today, and then compare. So there's so much. I'm looking forward for this. The second episode, I think we'll have to do for a part 2 producer, because I know this topic is very, very sensitive, and it's Africa border, illegal immigration. We are kind of Kutuone. It's a pandemic, it's a disease that is slowly eating our country. And as a Kokomeli, a great taller, Relakamusin. We love you, our followers, and we love you, and hope that on the second episode you will be with us. It's all of like it out, you will enjoy.
Until next time.